Hi guys, it's Davia. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Davia. I make content on beauty, hair, and also nursing. If you are not new here, thank you guys so much for coming back and joining me. So today I wanted to come to you guys. I've had a few of you guys message me on social media and ask for different tips and tricks in school and NCLEX and so forth. I wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks how to be successful in nursing school and how to pass your classes, pass your exams, and go on to take the test that really matters, which is the NCLEX. So many people, even in my own cohort, did not graduate or pass nursing school, and so they don't even get the opportunity to take the NCLEX. It's really important that you guys focus on passing school so that you can move on to the NCLEX. So I have a few tips here that I think would really help out, that helped me. I graduated with honors in my program, so I just wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to do well and succeed throughout school. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is you really have to be organized in nursing school. You really cannot just be getting ready the day before or the day of. You really have to get your notes and your PowerPoints or books or whatever it is that you know you're going to need for the class the next coming week. You really need to be prepping that at least a week in advance, making sure you're reading over notes, you're organizing all of your notes, printing out any paperwork that needs to be done, getting any reading done that needs to be done. So then when you do go to class and your teacher's going over this with you, you've already went over this information, you've read the book, or you've went over the PowerPoint, or you've watched a video. And so you already have prior knowledge on this, and you're gonna excel at that topic once you hear it over and over again. So you wanna just make sure you're organized and you're not running into class like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know we're talking about respiratory system. You wanna have that planned ahead of time so then when you go, you're well prepared, you're well aware, and you're ready to just kind of further your knowledge that you already have. With that, you also wanna be on time. You don't want to be running into class late, 15-20 minutes late, because more than likely you're gonna miss a part of the lecture that could potentially be on your quiz or your exam. So you don't wanna be that person. The next tip I will say is to set aside time to study. So in nursing school, you can't just wing it. There are some people that do that and maybe they're successful. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea to wing it. I definitely think you want to set aside at least a few hours a week to go over your notes or listen to your PowerPoints, watch your PowerPoints, so that you can really kind of get that knowledge in your brain so that you can be able to get it out on the exam, because you really need to remember it. Forget the exam. You're gonna need to remember that for the NCLEX as well. So set aside time to study so that you can fully understand the information, not just on the surface level, but really understand the information and be able to relate it to other things. The next thing I want to say is if you are a note taker, you really want to take really good notes. Because if that's how you go back and study, then you want to make sure that you're taking extremely good notes and that's legible, that is organized, that doesn't confuse you when you're reading it. Personally, I'm a note taker, so I like to write things down when I'm in class. So as the instructor is speaking, I am taking down really good notes so that when I go home, I can flip open my book and I can read over those notes and just kind of further reiterate that information on top of going to lecture. So as my professor is talking to me, I'm already typing out my study guide. So typically, when it's time for test, I'm one of the first people that have my study guides already drafted up because I was already basically making my study guides as the professor was teaching during lecture. And I recommend going over these notes within a day of actually getting them, of actually taking them in class. 1 to 2 days, I would say, is pretty good so that you don't forget it. Another thing I recommend is to record the lectures. A lot of instructors actually allow students to record the lectures. So what I recommend is bringing a laptop or a recorder or even your phone. If you have an Apple phone, you can just go on the recorder and you can record the lecture. If you are an auditory learner, you can go home and you can play these lectures back over and over, and this would really help you to learn the content. So I'm actually not a good auditory learner, I'm more of a visual learner. However, I I like to listen to my audios and go over my notes just in case I miss something. That helps me, but I can't learn just by listening to the audio itself. The next step I will say is to really try to develop a good relationship with your professors. This is really going to help you in the long run because one, most of the times when you graduate, you're going to need a reference, and a lot of times if you're not working in nursing school, you're probably going to have to use your clinical instructor or your professor. So you want to develop a good relationship in general so they at least remember you when you message them 2 years down the line and say, hey, I was in your so-and-so class, can you give me a reference? So that's one good reason why you want to have a good relationship with them. The second reason you want to have a good relationship with them is that you can always count on them to go to their office and have them explain the information to you a little bit more, or just know that you can stop after class and say, hey, I don't understand this. Do you mind explaining this to me? And just letting them know, hey, I really am not getting this content. What do you think I can do to help out or help me learn this information a little bit better? So you just want to have that good relationship with your professor because it's really going to help you in the long run. The next thing I want to say that's really important in nursing school is find a study buddy or some kind of buddy system. It could be 1 person, 2 person, 3 person. And just build a relationship with that person, because like I said, life happens. If you're running late or you miss class, you want to have somebody to say, hey, I wasn't in class today, could you send me those notes so I can get them? Or hey, I'm going to be running late today, could you let my professor know? Or something in that nature. You want to have somebody there that can kind of keep you in check a little bit and kind of have your back just in case you can't have your own back. And you also want to be that for other people. One thing that I really benefited from was networking with students from previous semesters. So let's say I was in my 3rd semester. I really got to know the 4th semester students because those students already are going through what I'm going to go through. And I actually learned really good information from them, one of which was actually really beneficial for my last class because they were able to tell us kind of what textbooks we're going to need or what resources or website helps them with their exams. And so we were able to do much better in our class because we networked with people that were already in that semester. So I highly recommend that you get to know people that are in the further semesters so you can get information from them and get a head start. The next thing that everybody talks about is just having a really good support system. That could be a friend, that could be your mom, that could be your boyfriend, your husband, your child, whatever it is. Have a good support system outside of that because nursing school is very, very time consuming. It can really get to you and you can start to feel a little bit alone and stressed out. So you want to just have somebody to kind of voice that to, and they can just give you a hug or a kiss or take you out to dinner. They're not going to understand you, but it's someone that you can talk to. So I really recommend just building a support system before you even start, just so you have somebody to turn to whenever it gets hard, because it is going to get hard. The last tip I have is to study smarter and not harder. So a lot of times in my nursing program, I came across a lot of my classmates that were studying for hours and hours and hours a day, like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I do not study that much. You don't need to study 8 hours a day to pass nursing school. That is what you call studying harder. You want to be smart and efficient. You want to study efficiently, okay? If you know, first of all, the brain can only learn so much in a half-hour period. So personally, I recommend studying for like an hour and then taking a break, and then another hour and then taking a break, and then maybe one more, and then just being done. Don't overdo it. Your brain is gonna get just overstimulated. It's not gonna remember anything after like the 3rd or 4th hour, but you're still studying. So in your mind, you're learning the information, and your brain is like, I'm really not. Try to use your time wisely. Do not crowd your brain with all of this information thinking that you're going to remember it. Break up your study time and split them up in 2-3 hour increments, maybe 4 hours, that's it, no more than that. Also, with studying smarter, I like to touch on people that use study tools or ways that other people use. So for instance, a lot of people learn really well from just listening to something. If I were to take advice from an auditory learner, I would fail all of my exams. So you want to find out what works best for you and do that. Not because your classmate listens to the lectures mean you are gonna do great by listening to the lecture. It just doesn't work for everyone. I had a friend that does well with PowerPoints. I cannot read a PowerPoint and learn to save a life. I have got to actually write the information down for it to like get in my brain. I don't know if I'm hard-headed or what, it just doesn't work for me. So just know how you learn and stick to it. If you know that you're a visual learner, maybe find a video, some pictures, you can do concept maps. There's so many different things that you can do that tailor to your visual learning abilities that would help you master the content over listening to somebody, or like me, consistently writing something. So that is pretty much it, guys. I'm going to be posting a lot more nursing school and NCLEX tips in the future. These are some things that I think will really help you and make a difference if you are just starting nursing school, if you're struggling in nursing school, if you had to retake a course in nursing school. These are some tips that I think will really help you and that truly helped me to just be able to pass and be able to achieve the goal of becoming an RN, which I'm sure most, if not all of you that are watching this video are trying to achieve. And trust me, it's a great feeling and it's worth it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.